Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025, and we have a ton of new knives to talk about. The most we've had all year. All 2 weeks of it, but it's going to be an exciting one. We'll start off with our sponsor. This week's sponsor is CRKT, Columbia River Knife and Tool. These are one of our favorite brands, and probably one of the brands that we've done the most exclusives with in the past. They have so many amazing knives, and what I love about CRKT is that they are committed to teaming up with amazing people to bring knives that are affordable to everybody. So like this right here is their brand new twist tie. And this is their first OTF, and they came out swinging. One of the shortest throws of any OTF slide. Nice and easy to operate. So much fun. Dagger magnet cut blade, milled aluminum with a lot of little texturings here and there, as well as a fat carbon or camo carbon, I forget which, on the backside with a reversible pocket clip with hardware that also doubles as keeping it in place. So it doesn't have like a pocket clip socket or anything. And that's because this comes from a designer who is very well respected, Brian Ty, an expert machinist, and his twist tie customs are known for their incredible amounts of texturing, just like we see here. They're known for their smooth actions, they're known for their clean designs. And that is something that we are getting here for 300 bucks, which is a fairly good price for a USA-made OTF with this blade steel and all this machining. It's great, and that is what I love about CRKT, is they take a lot of custom models that are very well known and loved and sought after, and they bring them to a much more affordable price point so that you can have your favorite knife design in your pocket every single day. You don't have to be afraid about scratching up a $3,000 custom if you have one. In fact, I know Jake Bush is a fellow, I met him at a Blade show. He's a police officer who's good friends with Ken Onion. And Ken Onion made him a custom called the Jake, and he loves it. He's like, I'm afraid to use it out though. I don't want to break this priceless custom. So CRKT made the Jake. You can get it now. It's his design, and he carries that every day on the force. That's what I love about CRKT, and they've done a lot of really good work. And I got to tell you, they came out swinging in the OTF world. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do next, because this is good. Might be the best first crack at an OTF I've seen a company do. It's between this and the Kershaw Livewire. But very well done, CRKT, and we're actually giving this one away in the live. So if you want to be part of the giveaways in the future, make sure you join us in the lives on Monday mornings at noon Mountain Standard Time, because we give away awesome knives like this. So join us next time. Next up in the knife news section, we have big news on the social media front. If you spend a lot of time on social media looking at knife stuff, you will have heard people complaining for months, if not years now, about censorship on knives. Because apparently community guidelines are so vague and interpreted by artificial intelligence that stuff just gets banned. If you're talking about knives, stuff gets taken down. We've run into this. Our social media managers lost quite a bit of hair trying to appeal our problems. We've had entire channels just deleted, and that is all changing, it looks like. So Mark Zuckerberg talked about the meta situation, and they are changing how they are going about moderating their content. They're going to back off quite a bit when it comes to their, what's the word I'm looking for? Censorship, and hopefully this will mean more knife content can thrive. So this is a joyful thing, we hope, but hopefully we'll see better knife content on social media, specifically Instagram and Facebook in the future. Also, SHOT Show is coming up. We've got a lot of new stuff coming up. So we've already seen some of the things. We've seen a few brands. We saw Cold Steel, SOG, Kershaw, and CRKT, all having come out with their brand new stuff, and you can check it out over at the Blade HQ YouTube channel right now. But I would please subscribe, because next week, 1 week from today, we are driving south to SHOT Show in Las Vegas, and there will be so many brands coming out there, and we'll have so much video content showing you all what is coming out in 2024. So do subscribe to Blade HQ, and we will see you at SHOT Show next week. Without further ado, let's talk about new knives, starting with this guy, new from GiantMouse, the GMF1-S. So the GMF1 is the GiantMouse fixed blade. This is the first model they did, and the 1S, I think, might be just a touch smaller, but we still have an N690 blade from Bowler, and man, that grabbed fingerprints. But this thing has a nice 3-finger grip, and if you have a lanyard on it, which is what I probably would do, I'd give you a 4th, sort of like the CRKT Minimalist has, then a nice sheep's foot blade, a very Jesper Voxnäs-esque design, and it makes sense because he, Jens Onso, and another fella started GiantMouse a few years back, and it is nice. And I love this leather sheath. So it is nice and flat. Sometimes leather sheaths get a bit bulky, And the other thing is, instead of having an entire stitched section right here, they had this all as one strip of leather that folds over and then goes down, and it makes for a very flush fit leather sheath experience. It's gonna be easy on your hip, have no issues at all. Handmade in Italy, all of the above. Very nice from GiantMouse, $145 for these. Next up, you guys can stop yelling at me in the comments. The Microtech ZBP is here. It used to be called the ZBT, but the name is now ZBP, Zero Blade Play. And that is exactly what it sounds like. Most of the time with OTFs, they have a little bit of blade play. In fact, I'll show you here. You can hear it. And that is not a problem. Like, it is not a safety issue, but if you wanna take it a little bit further in the engineering space, you can get the Zero Blade Play, and it is rock solid. It's like a fixed blade. But a nice action, serrated top edge on this guy. We have these gray aluminums as well. In addition, we have the black aluminum ones. We have the dagger that we've already seen, as well as the new drop point blade shape. So they're here, go get them. They start at $379, but they're nice. Next up, from We Knives, we have the Bougie Banter. So if you remember the Banter series designed by Ben Peterson, founder of Knafs, this is a really fun design, and this is the Bougie one. So it's a little bit slimmed down. We have textured titanium instead of G10, S45VN instead of S35VN, getting you a little more edge retention out of that, and just a really perfect size for everyday carry. This one feels very much like a Ben design. Got the blue accents, but luxury through and through. Milled titanium pocket clip as well, and glassy smooth action. Very nicely done, Ben. That one goes for $209.95, so not a terrible price either. Next up, we also have the Quinseris. This one has an M390 blade, titanium handle with this beautiful carbon fiber inlay, and what I'm noticing is a liner lock. Oftentimes on titanium like this, you'll see a frame lock that maybe has a backstop like on this carbon fiber, but this is just a liner lock. And this is probably the smoothest operating knife I've ever seen. It is so incredibly drop shut. I don't know how they did it, but it locks up solid, it has a great detent, and it is so incredibly smooth. I imagine some of that has to do with the finishing process involved, which makes this for a bit of a spendy one. $399.50 for this guy, but my goodness, does that thing drop shut. Very well done, We. And their next line is CIVIVI, and we have the Baby Banter 2. We've seen this one teased a little bit. Aluminum handle on this particular variant, Nitro V blade, crossbar lock, and it's a great little pocket-sized everyday carry knife. What I like is that you can still get the four-finger grip and have your blade here, but when you close it, it is super small. Smaller than a lot of keys I've seen. And a great price for this one as well. This one goes for $68. A little bit more if you want this aluminum one. The 68 is for like the micarta variants. But this aluminum has quite a bit of milling on it, so it brings it up into the 70s. Next up, the Elementum 2 is back. So first of all, the Desert Warrior will be restocked soon. I believe you can pre-order that at Blade HQ. But this one is my favorite of the Elementum 2s. Nitro V blade as we've always had, but an aluminum handle. So no liners, just a solid block of aluminum in this gray and black combo. Has sort of a gunmetal vibe. I really like it. Nice, I don't want to say radial, but sort of knurled texture on the handle. It grips really nice, but it's not going to chew up your pocket. Very exciting, and a good price on this as well, $76.50 for the aluminum variants. I'm excited that we're seeing a lot more aluminum button locks coming out of China because they're really good at button locks, and I just love me some aluminum handles. Next up, the much anticipated CIVIVI Merit is here. So this particular one is the Damascus version, so it's a little more expensive, but they start at $52. And what I like about the CIVIVI Merit is how incredibly thin the blade is. So if you look at that, it's got to be less than 100 thou behind the edge. Just super, super thin. And in addition to that, a full flat grind. So this is going to be one of the sliciest knives that you can get. A very comfortable handle, deep carry pocket clip, nice liner lock, flipper or thumb stud openers, and a great price, $52 starting. 14C28N. Honestly, this is a knife that I think is going to be an absolute bruiser. I think this will be around for years to come, and it will be very, very popular in perpetuity. Next up from SENCUT, we got a big old fixed blade. This one is the Toxodon 9CR18 MOV blade steel, Kydex sheath, and a nice flat G10 handle that fills out the hand because of its contours in this direction, this dimension, instead of this dimension. What that gives you is something that'll sit flat against your side. It won't harass you on a hike. You pick it up and it's gonna be nice in the hand. And I like that the blade stands forward of the handle here. So you can put your fingers here and you can almost get the fullness of the blade on. So it's almost like a camp kitchen knife or a hunting knife sort of thing. Very nice indeed. Snappy Kydex sheath comes with a tech lock sort of thing. These were invented by Bob Terzuola, which is why you can see Terzuola here. That refers to the clip and not the knife. The knife is a SENCUT in-house design. Very exciting and a good price on this guy, $52.96. That is it from the CIVIVI SENCUT family, but we're keeping it fixed blade with the Knafs Lander 4. So this one was a Kickstarter a few months back, but it is officially here. This is the Lander knife that you know and love, but it is a fixed blade now. 14C28N micarta handles, and all the way through the handle screws here. So if you wanted to use that as like a lashing point or put a lanyard on like it comes out of the box with, it's a great thing for that. And you have a little bead here. And what I like here is this sort of conical shape of the bead, because when you have a fixed blade, sometimes there isn't quite enough real estate right here to get the knife out easily. So what they do is they put this bead here so you can hook your pinky around it, and that is all you need to pull the knife out of the sheath. And they did a really good job with that. I love the Lander 4. This is probably my favorite of the Lander series. Very nice. And as all Landers are, fully customizable. You can go to knafs.com and you can get the CSV files. If you have a CNC lathe or CNC mill, I apologize, or a 3D printer, you can make whatever you want for these. And highly customizable. However, that is not the only member of the series. We also have the more luxury version, which has this sort of linen micarta CPM S35VN sheep's foot blade. Very nice. These ones go for $119, and this guy goes for $64.99. So 65 bucks or 120. Gets you a really fun everyday carry fixed blade. And I love that we're living in the age of everyday carry fixed blades because we've seen a lot of them. And last on the table, we have a brand new brand that we're not gonna talk too much about every single knife. We'll talk about them a little bit, is Poikilo blade, or Poikilo. I believe Poikilo is how they said it. I think the I is silent. This brand's a lot of fun because they bring a lot of innovation to the knife world that we haven't seen too much of before. So first of all, M398. So you can go and give that steel a Google. You'll find that on most of these knives. It sounds like it's gonna be close to M390, but it offers quite a bit higher carbide volume. It's gonna give you much better edge retention. This one's the Rhino, goes for $430, and it is quite the modern sort of, Sarah described it as post-apocalyptic looking, and I think she's right in that. This thing feels like a World War IV knife, if that makes any sense. Very nice for that guy. Next up, we have the Salvator. And this one I think is fun because it has a compound grind where both sides of it are flat. And then it has a mirror polished DLC blade. It just looks so good. And it's gonna be real slicey because of how thin the edge is up here. And then I love these back spacers too. It's like a mokume, like a moku tie. I don't know exactly what's going on there. A folded titanium as well as on the pocket clip. Very luxury features. This one goes for $630. Next up, this knife actually won award Best in Show at Blade Show West. This is the Orca. And what I think is cool about this guy is this handle. So if you rub your finger across it, you cannot feel where these parts meet, and you'd almost think it was an engraving or something. These are actually two pieces of titanium that flush fit perfectly together. I don't dare imagine what it's like to disassemble this knife because of that, because it's so perfectly fit. But my goodness, is it beautiful. And very usable too, a nice slicey M398 blade. Next up is one of the most viral knives of the year. You might have seen this at our Blade Show West content in the short. This is the AL-Khem. And this thing is also the most expensive Chinese-made knife I've ever seen. It goes for $13.50, and I think that's just because of how much engineering went into this. I don't think this will be anybody's everyday carry knife, but it is something to behold. So you hit this and it comes down, and then this pivot system, you twist and it engages a different mechanism. Now when you open it, it opens up to this and it fans it open. It's really quite something. We posted a short about this and it has something like 4 million views now. And a lot of people had a lot to say about it, but I am just impressed that they managed to cram all of this mechanism into a knife. What an engineering flex. And I think we will see much more of Poikilo in the near future because of it. And lastly, we have the Komodo going for $630. This one has sort of this backup Tanto blade where the secondary tip is down here, which gives you a lot of almost chef's knife-esque against the table cutting. Full titanium, same mokume on the back. Absolutely amazing. Poikilo is a brand I hope to see a lot more of in the future because they are not only innovators, but I think they're almost disruptors because they are so good at making knives. And until like October of this year, hardly anybody had heard of them. But everybody knows them now. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for joining us. This has been a lot of new knives, but there's a lot more over on the new arrivals category, so head over there and check it out. Make sure you're subscribed and join us next week because next week we will be on our way to SHOT Show. So we will not have new knives on the 20th. But we will have it the next week. And next week, we'll be doing all the knives of SHOT Show. So we'll see you all then. Except for